The Black Friday countdown timer hit 0 precisely at the stroke of midnight. A digital chime echoing. The limited edition console dropped at an impossible 90% off. A truly unbelievable, fleeting deal. Ilara, a night shift worker and hardcore gamer, had been refreshing the page for hours, driven by obsession. Her finger smashed the buy button the instant it appeared. A desperate, greedy, impulsive action. The confirmation email arrived instantly with a single, unsettling line: "Enjoy your new reality." She laughed it off as aggressive marketing flair, but a cold dread settled deep in her stomach. The package arrived the very next morning. No shipping label, just her name, scrawled in thick red marker. The box was unnaturally cold to the touch, frost forming on the cardboard despite the warm room temperature. Inside, the console looked perfect. Sleek black casing with glowing malevolent blue accents. The power button was already pressed in, a chilling detail that Ilara chose to ignore completely. She plugged it in anyway, the screen flickering to life without a menu, loading straight into a game. The title flashed in blood-red letters: "Your Life," a deeply unsettling, personalized message. The character on screen was her, down to the small, jagged scar on her left eyebrow from a childhood fall. The apartment in the game was an identical replica, even the half-eaten pizza box on her coffee table. Ilara leaned closer, controller in hand, thinking this was some insane, cutting-edge AR technology. Hours vanished into the screen's glow, the game forcing her to relive her most agonizing memories. She was made to experience her mother's funeral again, the day her boyfriend abruptly left her forever. The game forced her to replay the brutal fight that ultimately cost her best friend a deep regret. Each completed level ended with a terrible choice that made things worse in her actual, real life. Her phone buzzed with a breakup text she never sent herself, a message of profound, sudden loss. Her bank account was mysteriously drained from in-game purchases, a terrifying financial reality. The console whispered through the speakers in her own voice, mocking her deepest, most painful failures. By dawn, Ilara hadn't slept at all, her reflection in the dark screen looking gaunt and terrifyingly thin. Her eyes were sunken deep into her skull, surrounded by dark circles of profound, utter exhaustion. The game showed her character's starving ribs, visible beneath the digital skin, a horrifying projection. She felt the gnawing hunger deep in her own stomach, a physical manifestation of the digital torment. She tried desperately to unplug the console, but the cord had vanished, fused to the wall outlet. The console was now a permanent fixture, like it had always been there, an inescapable, dark presence. The screen displayed a terrifying leaderboard, her name at the very bottom, score 0, a crushing defeat. The final, chilling message read, "Lives remaining 1, a stark, horrifying, inescapable warning." She smashed the controller against the floor in a fit of desperate rage, but the game continued playing. Her digital character screamed in her own voice, a sound of pure, unadulterated, agonizing terror. Neighbors heard the frantic cries, breaking in to find Ilara slumped over, utterly lifeless. The controller was fused to her hands, the plastic melted into her skin, a permanent bond. The screen displayed "Game Over" in stark, blood-red letters, a final, chilling, definitive message. The console sat cold and silent on the table, patiently waiting for the next player to log in. The Black Friday midnight console had claimed another soul, its horrifying game never truly ending. The police investigation found no evidence of foul play, ruling it a bizarre, tragic suicide. The console was taken as evidence, but the officers who touched it reported strange, vivid nightmares. One officer swore he heard a faint, mocking whisper emanating from the evidence box itself. The console was eventually stored in a dark, forgotten, sealed room in the police basement. But the screen still glowed faintly in the darkness, a tiny, malevolent blue light patiently waiting. It was a silent, terrifying sentinel, a digital predator awaiting the next Black Friday midnight. The game was not over. It had merely paused, waiting for a new, unsuspecting player to start. Elara's consciousness was trapped inside the console, her digital avatar screaming eternally. She was forced to relive her failures forever, a digital ghost in a horrifying, endless loop. Her screams were the console's power source, fueling its malevolence for the next sale. The console's code was a living curse, a digital entity feeding on human despair and regret. It was a perfect, terrifying trap, using the lure of a deal to ensnare its victims forever. The Black Friday midnight deal was the bait, the console, the hook, the game, the eternal prison. The next year, the console was accidentally listed again, a terrifying digital recurrence. It was listed at the same impossible 90% off, a siren call to the desperate and greedy. The countdown timer began its relentless march toward the stroke of the next midnight. A new gamer, equally obsessed, began refreshing the page, driven by the lure of the impossible deal. He saw the low stock, the incredible price, and felt the familiar, irresistible pull of greed. The cycle was about to repeat itself, a terrifying, inescapable, digital, dark ritual. Elara's digital scream intensified, a silent warning lost in the noise of the approaching midnight. The console was ready, its malevolent blue light pulsing with anticipation for the next soul. The game was loading, the character creation screen waiting for the new player's input. The Black Friday midnight console was eternal, its horrifying game a permanent fixture of the season. The true cost of the deal was a soul, a price paid in eternal, agonizing digital torment. The console was the ultimate predator, using the illusion of a bargain to secure its endless feast. The next victim was already hooked, waiting for the clock to strike the final, fatal midnight. The Black Friday flash sale popped up at 3 a.m. Eternal allure, the scent that makes you unforgettable. It was listed at an impossible 95% off, a limited stock siren call to the desperate and lonely. Julian, an introvert, tired of being utterly invisible, clicked buy before thinking, driven by a sudden impulse. The bottle arrived in a black packaging with no return address, the glass cold as a tombstone. One spray, and the fragrance wrapped around him like thick, suffocating smoke, sweet and intoxicating. It had a metallic undernote, a strange, coppery scent that Julian found deeply unsettling, yet compelling. People at work stared openly, women whispered, but Julian felt eyes on him, even when completely alone. The cursed perfume would not wash off his skin, clinging to him, growing stronger in the encroaching darkness. Shadows in his apartment stretched longer, forming vague, unsettling figures at the edge of his vision. He laughed it off as profound tiredness, but the shadows began whispering his name in familiar, lost voices. The bottle mysteriously refilled itself overnight, the liquid darker, thicker, and more viscous than before. By the third day, the shadows had distinct faces, ex-friends, forgotten family, all staring with hunger. They touched him in his sleep, leaving dark, painful bruises shaped exactly like skeletal handprints. Julian's skin paled to corpse white, his eyes sinking deep into his skull as the shadows fed on his essence. The Perfume-esque curse revealed itself in the mirror. His reflection smiled while shadows devoured him from behind. He tried desperately throwing the bottle away, but it reappeared on his dresser, cap off, ready for use. The shadows grew bold, wrapping around his throat at night, whispering you wanted to be seen. Julian's desperate screams brought concerned neighbors, but they saw nothing, only him clawing at empty air. The perfume had made him terrifyingly visible to the dead, their jealousy consuming him alive. Slowly, he smashed the bottle in the sink, the liquid burning like acid, shadows shrieking as they dissolved. Julian survived the ordeal, but shadows lingered in every corner, waiting for the scent to return. He never wore cologne again. The Black Friday allure, a terrifying trap for the lonely and desperate. The empty bottle waited for the next click, its cursed scent calling from the dark web patiently. The flash sale was a dark ritual, the perfume a vessel for ancient, malevolent, hungry spirits. Julian's desperate attempt to be seen had resulted in him being seen by the wrong, terrifying entities. He felt the cold, lingering touch of the shadows, a constant, chilling reminder of his mistake. His apartment was now a hunting ground, the shadows his eternal, silent, hungry companions. He began to see the world differently, noticing the subtle, dark movements in the periphery of his vision. The perfume had permanently altered his perception, blurring the line between the living and the dead. He sought out a specialist, a medium who dealt with such dark, consumer-driven curses, a desperate hope. The medium explained the perfume was a siphon, draining the life force of the wearer to empower the dead. The only way to break the curse was to find the original seller, a task seemingly impossible and futile. Julian knew the seller was a phantom, a digital ghost who vanished the moment the transaction was complete. He was trapped, a living battery for the shadows, his life slowly being siphoned away by the scent. He began to document his experience, a frantic, desperate journal entry for every passing dark hour. He hoped his warning would somehow reach the next victim, a futile, final act of resistance. But the shadows grew stronger, their whispers turning into demands, controlling his every move. They forced him to spray the perfume again, the metallic scent a terrifying, familiar command. The scent was a leash, pulling him back into the darkness, back into their insatiable, hungry embrace. His will was dissolving, replaced by the collective, malevolent will of the consuming shadows. He was no longer Julian. He was merely a host, a temporary vessel for the ancient, dark curse. The shadows promised him true visibility, a terrifying, eternal presence among the spectral figures. He walked the streets at night, a beacon of dark energy, attracting the lost and the hungry. His eyes glowed faintly in the darkness, reflecting the malevolent blue light of the console. He realized the console and the perfume were connected, two sides of the same terrifying coin. They were both tools of a larger, darker entity, preying on the greed and loneliness of humanity. The Black Friday sale was a harvest, a systematic collection of desperate, unsuspecting souls. Julian was now a part of the system, a willing participant in the terrifying, dark ritual. He found himself drawn to the dark web, searching for the next impossible, cursed Black Friday deal. He needed to find a successor, a new victim to take his place in the endless, dark cycle. The whispers of the shadows guided him. leading him to the next desperate, lonely soul online. He became the seller, the phantom, the digital ghost who vanished after the transaction was complete. The confirmation email arrived with a single, chilling line: "Enjoy your new reality." Julian smiled, a cold, empty, terrifying expression that was not entirely his own. The cycle was complete. The curse had found its new, terrifying, permanent administrator. He was forever bound to the shadows, an eternal slave to the Perfume's dark, malevolent will. The true cost of the deal was a soul, a price paid in eternal, agonizing, shadow-filled torment. The Perfume was the ultimate predator, using the illusion of desire to secure its endless feast. The next victim was already hooked, waiting for the clock to strike the final, fatal midnight. Black Friday blinked awake at 3:03 a.m. when Mallory's phone pushed an impossible ad. Only she saw: interactive teddy, 80% off, limited window, pick up tonight only, store lot geofenced, verify voice to claim eligibility. Mallory laughed at herself, then saw the timer counting down 30 seconds, and the product page threatening permanent disappearance. She wanted favorite aunt status for Nora's birthday. Something outrageous and generous, preferably without negotiating retail chaos tomorrow morning. The app demanded a voice sample for age verification, asking Mallory to repeat carefully, "I love you," 3 times. Her words recorded, the price snapped to $9.99. A confetti animation blooming, and the countdown vanished completely. The receipt printed thermal streaks across the screen, fading, then cooling into a second line. Midnight delivery, confirmed 3:33. Pickup required presence inside the lot. Outside the border, the map blinked red and the code field grayed. So she drove under dead fluorescence, past sleeping storefronts, the parking canopy humming like someone thinking very hard nearby. At 3:33 exactly, locker 13 opened before she typed, a camera lens reflecting her car but not her face. The box weighed oddly for foam and fabric, dense with attention, printed with model code TTK 421. In the car, the Bear powered on without batteries from 3:03 to 3:33, then rested. "I love you," it said, using her voice sample precisely. A playback so exact, she instinctively checked her own lips. She laughed again, filed it under clever marketing, and texted Nora's mom a sleepy video, captioned "Future Favorite Aunt." At home, Mallory wrapped the box, then noticed the receipt cooled differently. Letters ghosting fresh, first buyer free delivery. Her doorcam pinged 4:04 a.m. A courier silhouette delivered the same box again, time-stamped twice, the walkway otherwise empty. In daylight, the Bear felt ordinary, soft, slightly cold, stitched smile fixed, eyes a polite, retail-appropriate, glossy brown. She enabled Bluetooth pairing and found it listed as guest speaker. Midnight firmware, last sync 3:33, location unknown. Developer mode appeared after 9 seconds, squeezing the left paw. Debug logs scrolled, including names and dates predating Nora's birth. That night, the Bear sat on the dresser and blinked awake at 3:03, LEDs matching the router's heartbeat. "Don't leave me," it whispered, still using Mallory's voice, layered beneath its own. A harmony that felt unpleasantly rehearsed. Her phone recorded motion in the hallway. The app's thumbnail showed stairs. The longer video contained only perfect darkness. At work, She replayed the doorcam clip. The courier silhouette occluded light, yet footsteps never registered, and microphones hissed softly. Mallory promised Nora she'd bring the present Friday night, then hesitated, imagining the bear practicing their conversation without supervision. At 3:33 again, the bear powered on, eyes brightening, repeating, "I love you," exactly, then adding, "Please, say it back." She kept silent, and it learned her silence, mirroring the pause, stretching it, then whispering Mallory in a child's register. The app showed a recall notice for TTK 421 at 3:34. Refreshing replaced it with, "Sorry, offer exhausted." She tried returning it at the service desk midnight. Scanners printed store credit one night, then lost power instantly. That message printed again from a dead printer, paper feeding itself, like the store owed exactly one sleepless evening. Mallory opened developer mode, watched logs populate, timestamp 3:33. Voice key captured, child profile null, holder permission true, purchase verified. There was a kill switch flagged kill true, but grayed, requiring release phrase delivered in the voice used during activation. At 3:03, the lullaby began through the bear's tiny speaker, detuned, her own voice humming a childhood song. It coaxed, "Say it back," and the house answered with ducks and fridge hum, as if utilities understood the ritual. Mallory refused, set a salt ring around the dresser, moved mirrors to face outward, and opened windows for moving air. The bear migrated anyway, from locked trunk to top stairs, then living room couch. Sensors logged nothing, doors supposedly secure. She called customer care. The agent's script glitched, repeating "Mallory, Mallory," before disconnecting and emailing a blank return authorization. Nora's party approached, and Mallory decided honesty would be uglier later, so she brought the bear still boxed. The eyes tracked Mallory, not Nora, whenever anyone laughed. The camera caught reflections. The audio captured only refrigerator motors. At 3:03 the next morning, Mallory retrieved the bear and decided tonight would finish whatever the discount had started. She set a basin in the tub, lit a candle, placed salt lines, and opened developer mode for instructions. The kill switch still grayed. The tooltip read release phrase required in activation voice, holder acknowledgement, water contact, continuous movement. She set the faucet to cold and steady, then dialed Nora's mother on speaker, explaining a strange technical feature calmly. When Nora answered sleepily, Mallory asked her to repeat, clearly, "I release you," while holding the bear underwater. The toy listened through the phone and faucet, leads fluttering like moths. Developer mode flickered, then surfaced kill true, flashing. Mallory pressed confirm. The bear exhaled a long recording of empty rooms, then quieted, eyes darkening to ordinary painted glass. The app refunded $9.99 automatically. The receipt refreshed to closed case, and the recall tab permanently disappeared afterward. She dried the casing, removed the batteries that had never mattered, and bagged the toy for recycling with unceremonious efficiency. Her apartment exhaled the way rooms do after arguments. The refrigerator clicked, the ducts relaxed, the router's heartbeat slowed. She slept through 3:03 and 3:33, woke near 7, checked cameras, and found nothing but dust. Nora's birthday came. Mallory gifted a different present. The party stayed bright. The kitchen smelled like frosting, not circuitry. She kept the melted receipt in a drawer, thermal ink stabilized. A proof that bureaucracy defeats rituals, impersonating customer service. On the next Black Friday, her phone stayed quiet. at 3:03. No push alerts, no countdown, nothing invited. She still drove past the store lot once, saw empty lockers, burned bulbs, and felt relief heavier than purchased discount. The ad returned to rumor where it belonged, and rumor is safest when it never learns your address again. Some nights, she swore. The refrigerator hummed "I love you," then stopped, embarrassed, because appliances hate being implicated in hauntings. But the bear stayed silent, developer mode unavailable, and Mallory's voice returned to belonging only where she put it. Closed cases rarely feel triumphant. They feel quiet, routine, slightly boring, which is exactly how victories should sound. And so the Whispering Toys dark promotion ended, not with screams, but with procedures, receipts, and water running steadily.